Glasgow. Sonya Anderson, who's head of elections at the counting company DRS, is there. What is going wrong tonight?
We do have a few known issues. As you can see, lots of results are coming out thick and fast, particularly here in Glasgow. We are having no issues with scanning. We're managing to scan the ballot papers, collect the results, and certainly keep audits of everything that's being logged. We are having some known issues with the consolidation of the results, and we're working with those returning officers and with our technical team to get those resolved as quickly as possible.
Well, there are counts being suspended across the country. We're just hearing that the Eastwood count will now be suspended until tomorrow. Can you pinpoint what it is that is going wrong? What are the key problems?
As I say, we're not having any problems at all with the scanning and the recording of votes. The issues that we are experiencing are just down to one very specific area, which is the consolidation and the tabulation and the production of the final results. And there are certainly some...
Hang on a second, because the words that you're using are not meaning very much to me, so I suspect folk watching at home, those that are still up at this hour, will be confused as well. What is it that is going wrong? Is it the computer software or what?
What it is, as we scan the ballot papers, we're capturing the votes and recording the fact that we're capturing those votes. However, once we've recorded all those votes, we need to use a calculation to pull those results together and produce the results that the returning officer is going to declare from. That process is taking longer than anticipated in some of the centres, and some returning officers have decided, because of the long wait that the staff and the candidates are experiencing, that they're going to ask staff and candidates to go home while we resolve the issue, for them to come back and then declare those results.
I thought this system was fully tested and it worked fine.
The system is fully tested, and the important thing with any use of technology is that you're able to audit what you're doing, identify where there are issues, and then obviously work hard to get them resolved, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Do you guarantee that all these results will be completed at some point tomorrow?
I guarantee that all these results will be with the returning officer as soon as we have been able to fix this small issue that we are experiencing.
Well, it might be a small issue, but it's causing an awful lot of concern. Should heads roll after tonight?
I think it's incredibly important that we work with the returning officers involved, and of course the Scottish Executive and the Scotland Office, to try and identify what has caused this particular issue and make sure that it doesn't happen in the future.
Who's to blame?
I think whenever there's a deployment of technology, particularly in elections, which is a very high-pressured environment, we're going to experience some issues. Manual counts aren't without issues. All returning officers would confirm as such. Things are going incredibly well. We're seeing results coming out very fast. Hang on a minute.
Things are not going incredibly well. That is simply not true.
As I say, results are coming out in many of the constituencies, and we're working with those returning officers that are experiencing issues to make sure we can get them resolved.
I think there's going to be an awful lot of anger about this across the country, and already we've heard calls for there to be an inquiry. Would you welcome some kind of investigation into all of this?
I think it's absolutely critical that we work with the returning officers and the Scotland Office and the Scottish Executive to identify what has gone wrong here, just to make sure that that it doesn't happen again in the future.
I thought you knew what had gone wrong.
As I say, though, we're working with the returning officers, and you asked me the question, should there be an inquiry? Of course, we will be involved after the results are out, making sure that we can identify what has happened.
What will happen to all these spoilt ballot papers?
Well, the spoilt ballot papers is something really you've got to talk to returning officers about.
They make that judgment. Let me just put to you one other possibility. Would it have been better if, instead of having 31 count centres across the country, we centralised and had far fewer centres? Would that have eased some of the problems that are being experienced through the night?
I think certainly whenever you're deploying technology, it is much easier to do it in a fewer number of locations. We understand why this time round returning officers decided to retain their counts within the boundaries of their local authority area. But certainly we've seen in other parts of the country, such as London, that consolidation has worked very well, and maybe that's something that would be considered in the future for Scotland.
Do you think your company is ever going to be trusted to run an election like this again in Scotland?
I think that DRS as an organisation have delivered many, many successful counts. I think the important thing is that we get the issue resolved, we work with the returning officers, and they are confident that what is being delivered is a secure result.
OK, thanks for talking to us. Sonya Anderson, live from the Glasgow count.